What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Damien Reads Comics. Today we're going to do the second volume of Mirka Andolfo's Unsacred. And I'm not going to lie, I actually like this book a little bit more than I did the first one, because at least with the first one, it was kind of story-driven, but at the same time, each page was just kind of like a gag, a sexual gag, right? With this one, though, it's actually, each comic, actually, you can say, has its own storyline to it. So you follow a story, and then it says the end, and you pick up a different story. And what's funny is they still have little gags, but they're not sexualized anymore. Like they are, but not like they used to be. And so I really like this this book a little bit more. Now I know why they're not. It's a little bit different than the first one, and I'll get into that later. But anyway, let's start out. Mirka Andolfo's Unsacred, hard copy. Volume 2. I think there's trade paperbacks of this. I think if I think if I was looking correctly, there's only issues and hardcovers though. So anyway, published by Image Comics. Oh, I'm sorry, not Image Comics. I've been doing the Reckless series so long that no, this one's by ABLAZE, as you can see there, ABLAZE, and this one, Mirka Andolfo does a lot of the script, the art, the color, but she only does it for a few of the pages, because between the prologue and the name of the father, the different comics, Mirka Andolfo's, there with the script, but the art is by different people and things like that. So as you guys can see here, I don't want to go down the list. Each one, Mirka Andolfo is credited as doing the script, but the colors and stuff are by different people. And you actually notice that in this book as well. Like you start noticing when, when you're reading it, you start noticing when it goes from Mirka Andolfo doing the script, the art, and the colors to when somebody else completely takes over. And I'll show you guys that here in a little bit. So let's get started. Let's crack this open and see what you guys think. And we'll do a little bit about the plot of this second book. All right, guys. So the second book has to do with, okay, before we get started, in the first book, it's pretty much, and I'm sorry, because the first one, I think I was calling her Angelica. Her name is Angelina. And this is actually Damiano. So Dami and Angie. So it's Angelina, not Angelica, like I said. And in the first book, it's how they met, them waiting till marriage to do the sexual act, them getting married, and her getting pregnant. At the end of the very first book, we know they have a child, and they name her Eden. Her name is Eden, and it's this little girl right here. Towards the end of the last book, you get like a 1 or 2 page shot of them being a happy family. And on top of them having Eden, they have twins. They call, see, this is weird, because I don't know if it's Kani and Abele, and this one's what they're called. And I say Abele because it's spelled A-B-E-L-E, and Kani is spelled K-I-N-E, or K-A-I-N-E. I don't know why they put that E at the end, but Cain and Abel. And when you go into this one, it's weird, because in the last one, the twins are not called Cain and Abel. They're called Ikro and Kani, or Kano. They must have changed it up. So in this one, they're already parents, and what's weird about it, like at the end of the last book, there's a one off, like 1 or 2 pages of this exact one right here, this exact comic. This is all Mirka Andolfo. It's pretty much Angie and Dami having to deal with having a baby now. And like I said, this one has a little bit more story driven, and so as you can see here, like time does pass throughout the pages. And that's kind of nice, actually, because now she's not a baby anymore. She's kind of like a toddler now. And he's just so in love with having the toddler. He never thought he can be a parent, from being a rock, being in a rock band and things like that. But he's taking care of it. He's being a great father. And in one of these stories, they go to a big mansion. And this mansion is actually was Angie's father's. She inherited it, but we don't get to ever see how her father looks like. And you find out why she inherited it. And eventually they think there's a treasure in there that's left behind. And at the end, the treasure's not what it seems. So then after that, they they kind of leave and they go home, and see, like, all of this is still, the first comic. And then I gotta kind of be careful because there is a little bit of nudity. That's about where it ends, right there, right here. Yeah, you can see it right there at the end. And then it starts a new one. And this is where they're still, dealing with life. Damiano has something he wants to do for Angie. I was going to call her Angelina. And it's a secret. And for the life of her, she doesn't understand why he's being so distant from her. And at the end, you finally find out. And it's a gag. It's funny. It's kind of stupid. But it's funny. But she tries so many things to try to be with him. And he's just so not wanting to do anything with her. Because it's weird. Because he's always like this. He's always trying to get at her. But this time around, he's not. And I'm telling you, she dresses up. And she gets, like she's trying to be with him right here. He doesn't want it. She talks to her friends. And like I said, out of all the friends, I don't know the name of these two. We only get her. And I think I called her Michelle last time. Her name is Michaela. And she starts getting advice from, give me right here. So you can see she's still trying to win his affection. He just doesn't want it. And, oh, I'm sorry, that's not the one. And let me flip over. So eventually she calls his mom and gets advice. And she takes that advice. And she kind of goes along with, Dami's mom's advice. She tries everything, and at the end we find out what it was. It's funny at the end. It's kind of like a haha, and yeah, and then the end, and then it starts a different one. This right here is when you finally find out the script is still by Mirka and Andolfo, but the art is different, as you guys can see, and that kind of, I don't know if I like that. I like that the comics are story driven and not just gags, each page being a gag. This one is her still being, she's not a school teacher anymore. She's the principal of the school. And this is Serviano. And there's a reason they introduced him, actually. This is a whole nother little small story. It's kind of nice. It's funny at the end. But there's a reason they introduce him. And then we move on to a different artist right here, as you guys can see. And this is still Damiano and his friend. I finally found out that his name is actually Guido. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can find it here. Guido. It's not the other way around. It's Guida. And this guy's name is Grugno. So we do find out their names. I finally kind of pieced that together. They're pretty much trying to figure out how to continue being a band now that he's a father of three. He has Eden, he has Cain and Abel, the twins, and he needs to figure it out. This is kind of like a nice story with friends. I like that very much. And then this one's not too long. I think it ends right there, so it's not too much. And then as you guys can see, different art again. And this one's actually kind of interesting because it moves from them being kids to now, or, him having kids to now he doesn't have kids anymore. He has not even teenagers. These are adults. She's 28 years old. Eden is 28 years old. And as you can see here, let me see if I can bring it kind of closer. As you can see there, Damiano has a beard, but it's starting to get gray. So he's getting older. As you can see, Angie, she's kind of getting a little bit of wrinkles too. So she's getting old. And this is a story of pretty much her getting ready to leave to a different town to work. And them being happy, but still having to deal with her leaving. And they're kind of like sad that they're leaving. And what's weird about this, the reason they brought up Serviano, the little mischievous kid that was always giving Angelina trouble, was because he plays a part in this story. When Eden leaves, she comes back to introduce her parents to her new boyfriend. And who is her new boyfriend? Serviano. Right there. And yeah, so this story is kind of funny because Damiano is trying to do everything he can to pretty much screw up this relationship for his daughter because he doesn't like Serviano. And it ends up pretty funny at the end of it. I don't want to give that part at the end, so I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. And this last chapter is actually very nice. It kind of recalls the entire story-ish of Damiano, Angelina, and their kids growing up, and they pretty much get old together. They get really old, and that's kind of where it ends. Like I said, I don't want to give too much of the stories, the gags in it away, but it's actually kind of funny, some of the gags, and I really enjoy this book. And then you get some cover art. I'll flip through them. There's no nudity in them. I checked. There's maybe some side butt or side boob, but there's no actual nudity in it. These are actually the covers for each comic that came out. I think there's 6 of them. And that's the last one, which is cool. It's the Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad. These are variant ones. The variant ones are pretty cool, but I wasn't the biggest fans of them. I did check them out, but eh. And then you get some sketch. The sketchbook of Mirka and Andolfo. This was my favorite one right here. The Joker and the Harley Quinn one. That's freaking amazing. Harley being the angel, Damiano being the devil, and you know, as you can see, he's like the Joker. So the sketchbook is actually kind of nice. Like I said, there's no. Oh, hold on here. This one's funny. He's pretty much a spoof of what's her name? Miley Cyrus doing that whole came in like a wrecking ball, right? I came in. I can't come with my breaking balls. His band is called Breaking Balls, so that's why that's funny to me. You guys read it, but overall this one was a lot different than the first book. So, and that's the end of it right there. It's pretty much them in a nutshell, having to deal with kids for a little bit, their kids growing up, and then them getting older. That's pretty much the basis of it. So the first one really only had to deal with, you know, Damiano, Angelina, them being together for a while, them getting married, her getting pregnant, her giving birth. This one is again with both of them, but now having a kid and then having two other twins, so having 3 kids, them having to deal with life a little bit, and then them getting old, you know, grandpa, grandma type of deal. So that's pretty much the end of it. All right, guys. So that's pretty much how, you know, I guess volume 2 ended. I think this was actually the end of this series, so which I kind of like how it did end. I did like it. Overall, I'm going to give this book a 7. I believe I gave the other one a 5. So, yeah, this one was a little bit better because the comics were a lot more story-based, which I enjoyed a lot more. There were still funny gags and stuff like that, which I also enjoyed. And there were different gags, like I was saying from our previous video, that I wish they had different gags other than all being sexualized. And this one does have different gags, so that's why I enjoyed it more. That's why I'm giving this one a 7, because it finally told a good story in each chapter, or I'm sorry, in each comic, technically chapter. And at the end, you see them get old, and it's a loving story. So, and overall, I'm giving this book a 7, and I'm still keeping the other one being a 5. The overall arc of the story, you know, between volume 1 and 2, I'm giving it about a 6. You know, it's enjoyable, it's a good read, but I'm not gonna, you know, it's not something I'm gonna keep. Like, I read it, enjoyable, funny, haha, and move on. I wish they would have kept the same concept for both books, whether it be gags in, you know, the book 1 and book 2, or story driven like this one in book 1 as well, and did the both. Because when you get both books and you read the first one and then you read this one, it's a completely different, like, I don't know how to say, like, perspective on it. Like, it was just so weird, the transition it did. And I didn't really like that part. Like, I wish it would have stuck with one. I was kind of bored with the sexual gags that it was doing in the first one. And I wanted the story base, and I got it. I did. But I wish they would have kept to, you know, they would have done it in the first book, and or kept going with volume 2. But, you know, getting it's almost like reading 2 completely different books, almost, with the same characters. And I just wasn't a big fan of that. I believe I kind of said something like this when it came to the Unnatural series, that also by Mirka and Andolfo. Her first omnibus comics 1 through 12 were amazing. Freaking amazing, right? But she started like a new Unnatural called Blue Blood. And when I read the first 3 chapters of it, I think I read 4 comics of it. It just, the route she took with it, I just didn't like it, you know? And so, same with this one. So, like I said, just to give a quick recap, like I've been doing, Mirka Andolfo's Unsacred, Volume 2, hardcover by ABLAZE. There we go. ABLAZE Comics Publisher. And Volume 2, yeah. Rating this a 7. Rating the other one, Volume 1, a 5. And then overall story, a 6. So I don't know if I'm gonna start doing this or not, but I kind of want to start maybe implementing this. Maybe you guys might like this, maybe not. Let me know in the comments. But I'll let you guys know what I'm reading next, and that's gonna be Sin City. I hope you guys don't get bored of it because there's 7 absolutes that I'm gonna be doing right back to back. I'm not a big fan of, for example, if I read volume 1 and in between volume 1 I read something different and then I read volume 2. So that being said, when it comes to Sin City, I'm gonna read all 7 absolute editions, and so I hope you guys don't get bored of it. I'm gonna do a review of each one individually of what I read, and so hopefully you guys don't get bored of that. I apologize if you do, but that's what I'm gonna start doing. I'm gonna let you guys know what I'm gonna do next and go from there. So if you guys read this, the Unsacred books 1 and 2, volume 1 and 2, let me know what you guys think. Sorry, I was hearing something. I think my phone's going off back there. If you guys read Unsacred 1 and 2, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know if you liked it. Let me know if you like volume 1 or volume 2. This is a definitely check out. Like, for some funny gags, laugh, it's a great, something to read. Do I highly recommend it? No, that's just my opinion. But if you want to pick it up for some laughs, for sure, go for it. Yeah, give me a like if you guys haven't done so already. I really hope you guys have been enjoying my content. The likes really help. Subscribe to my channel to get these out there. I know I'm 100% sure I have not seen a review for this book at all out there. So, and if you guys have, tag me in them, because I've been looking for this one and I haven't seen one. And I hope you guys, enjoy this review to make your decision if you want to pick it up or not. It doesn't have as much nudity as it does in the, like, I know you guys saw a little bit of it. I was trying to skip past it, but it doesn't have as much nudity as the first book, which kind of kills the mood for me, because I know that's what Mirka Andolfo's, what she does. And it's weird that the transition that they did from volume 1 to volume 2. So, to each his own, I guess. I don't know what happened in the production or things like that. But anyway, like I said, if you guys read this, leave a comment down below. Please like the video. Go back and check out my other videos. And if you guys haven't done so, please subscribe to get my videos out there so other people can see that. That being said, we'll see you on the next one.